Okay, so the first question was, what does it mean to be a leader of an ASX-listed company in 2021? I think the answer to that question is made more complex due to the fact that we're still a relatively early stage company. We've only been delivering our services for about 3 years now. And as the CEO of the business, I'm still very involved in the day-to-day operations of the company. In addition, we're a hyper-growth digital business, and dealing with scaling and the complexity of optimizing operations at the same time takes up a huge amount of my bandwidth. On the strategic front, we're solving complex education problems that require deep thinking. And then we have to match that with excellent execution. And it's really hard to get this all right, all at the same time. So I'm probably not allocating enough time to the strategic components, but I know that as we mature as a business, this will become a more important part of my role. On the other hand, as the CEO of a listed company, besides all the compliance and reporting requirements, I need to make time for our investors and shareholders, who obviously we see and respect as being part owners of our business. And what all this means is that I have to be extremely disciplined and focused with my time. I can't pick up a discussion with every investor every time somebody wants to talk to me, because everything comes at an opportunity cost. And one of my biggest challenges is deciding what not to do rather than deciding what we should be doing. So during COVID, managing shareholders, a board of directors, an executive team, and supporting the heightened levels of anxiety and concern and uncertainty made my role as the CEO pretty complex. Fortunately, we're one of those businesses that has benefited very positively from COVID as more and more students move online for their learning. This is driving not only a transformational shift in our business, but also our market, which makes crystal ball gazing, strategy, and forecasting even more difficult. New business opportunities, new business models, and new market opportunities are rapidly emerging, which means I need to drive innovation and decision-making even faster to grasp those opportunities ahead of us. Ultimately, for us and for me, it's less about the number of opportunities, it's much more about choosing the right ones. Thank you. I think the second question that I was asked was, are you yet back to a normal operating environment? And if not, what does the new operating environment look like to you? I think the best way to put it is that we've settled at a new normal. Prior to COVID, we saw significant growth in our business as more and more students were migrating to online for their learning support. And then in the last week of March last year, COVID came, and following school shutdowns in the last week of March, students were mandated en masse to migrate online for their learning. This accelerated the shift to online learning that we had already been experiencing. Fortunately, our entire business was built on cloud-based infrastructure, and all staff moved to working remotely almost instantly. Given our business is highly data-driven, with KPIs for every team and every team member across the organization that are reported in real time, we're fortunate that we've got visibility of all performance metrics across the business at all points in time. And it's been incredible to see how staff have recalibrated to working remotely. Our efficiency and productivity levels have never been higher, but it's been hard work maintaining engagement and culture whilst operating remotely. And we've learned some really important lessons around how to manage remote teams. And we've got to understand that this places significant additional weight on our management and team leaders. What we've got to understand is if even one member of the team is remote, you need to run the entire team as if it were remote. A blended model just doesn't work. We found that management needs to be across all metrics all day, every day. And our systems, platforms, and processes have been fine-tuned to support our staff to operate in an efficient and effective manner. What's really interesting is in our latest staff surveys, we recorded amongst the highest levels of engagement. This came as a huge surprise to us. Operating a fully remote workforce has also opened up new opportunities for our business, We're now able to recruit from a much larger talent pool, both nationally and internationally. Throughout the process, our office remained open for those who wanted to or needed to work from an office, or they couldn't facilitate working from home. We've settled at this new normal, which provides greater flexibility for our staff, higher levels of productivity for the business, and better outcomes for our customers. Now, I'm often asked, how do we see it going forward? I think going forward, we're highly unlikely to see a return to the office on a full-time basis. People are happy to come in for teamwork or strategy, but ultimately, nobody wants to simply trade a workstation at home for a workstation at the office. I think the third question that I was asked was, what are some of the key lessons we learned during COVID, and have we made subsequent changes to our business to better position ourselves going forward? I reflected quite a lot on this question, and I think some of the key takeouts and learnings for me are as follows. Firstly, never assume you're fully in control. Just when you least expect it, you get thrown a curveball. Secondly, financial models need to take into account much wider tram tracks. For example, nobody modeled zero revenue. Likewise, we didn't anticipate the significantly increased level of take-up of our services that we experienced, particularly when our core business was already growing at more than 200% a year. Then I think in times of uncertainty, everybody looks to the CEO for certainty. The board, our shareholders, our staff, and this was really difficult. But the key lesson or takeout for me was just be honest and forward-facing with the people and the teams. I found I needed to double down on the time that I spent with them. Just listening, sharing concerns, and being committed to finding a path to navigate through a crisis as a team is absolutely critical. For me, what became absolutely clear is you can't retreat. You need to move forward and lead from the front. Finally, I think a key lesson for me is just when you think it can't get worse, it may get worse. And you need to be emotionally prepared for this. Managing stress and anxiety when you're leading the troops isn't easy. And you have to show resilience, fortitude, and confidence that there is a way forward, even if you're not absolutely sure what the way is. And on that point, going forward, we're positioning our business to be much more flexible in terms of scaling our operations. Moving to a 100% remote workforce has opened up enormous opportunities for us to recruit staff nationally or even internationally. We've now truly stress tested our platforms, processes, and systems, and we now are confident that they can be deployed in other markets and other geographies at scale. Increasing our data-driven decision-making, measuring every key metric across all areas of the business, and providing transparency of these metrics to the broader teams across the company clearly engenders a sense of collegiality, openness, transparency, and a culture where we all feel aligned to the same goals. We were forced to share everything so that everybody working remotely knew what was going on. And it is amazing to see how this brought everyone together. There will be no going back to the way it was with teams being siloed. Everything in our organization now runs as a cross-functional initiative. This is what's engendering a higher and much more valuable level of engagement with our people. And this is a key takeout for us. And this is the way we're going to operate going forward. Thank you.